Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Decentralized Revolution, episode 164. My name is Nate, hanging out here with Aaron Harris and Tim Miller, who is co-organizer of the upcoming Rage Against the War Machine rally. What's up, Tim? How you doing tonight?
Yeah, doing pretty good, Nate. How you doing?
I'm
And
doing all
Aaron,
right. Trying to keep up on everything that's going on with this war. It's a little tough to keep up with everything.
it is.
Um, Aaron, just so everyone knows, Aaron's hanging out with us. He's here,
I'm here.
and
I've got some background noise going on.
yeah.
So if you hear, might talk a little less than normal, but I don't know Tim super well, but I've hung out with him a couple times. I think the one of the LP Pennsylvania things and other LNCs and stuff like that. So he goes way back with Mises caucus stuff and LP, and most importantly tonight, anti-war stuff. So I didn't know that you were really involved with Rage Against the War Machine. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved, and I'll mute myself again.
Yeah, Aaron, it's good to see you again, man. So I got involved right at the beginning. I don't even remember how we started. Angela kind of threw it out there and said she wanted to do some anti-war events, and war is my big issue. It's what got me involved in politics in the first place. And I got involved with party stuff around 2020. And I've been a part of LP Maryland since then. Been on the executive board a few times, and really with the Rage Against the War Machine stuff, been the site manager, co-organizer for all three events. It's been very rewarding, especially when you finally get to meet like people like Dr. Paul and things like that in person on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial for this event. It was just kind of a very memorable moment. But it's, with things that are going on right now, I mean, if we don't do it, if libertarians aren't leading the charge on the anti-war peace movement, then who's going to? It's a voice that is very necessary, and I think pretty popular with the American base right now. So yeah, the war is very scary right now, and it seems to keep taking twists and turns. So very dangerous, and I think not good for America, obviously.
I just wanted to ask so everyone who's hanging out with us knows, like when and where is this if they don't know?
Sure. So this is going to coincide with the Libertarian National Convention in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The convention itself is pretty much based around Memorial Day weekend. This is going to be on Sunday, the 24th. It's not going to be quite the same kind of production as what we had previously at the National Monuments in DC. This is going to be a smaller event. It's going to be in the convention hall. But it's, we're expecting a great turnout, and, May 24th, Sunday. So if you're coming to the convention, if you're not coming to the convention, but you care about anti-war stuff, get there. It's going to be great.
Are you at all worried with the recent news that there won't be a war to protest come May?
Well, the thing that I think everybody has to do is pray for that to be the case. But the reality is there was a ceasefire that lasted 12 hours, and then Israel started their shenanigans again. And I don't know all the details of what's going on every second of the war, but it seems like because our administration here in America is so entrenched with that, with Israel and with their plans, that they're not willing to kind of take a step back and look at the America First policy that really got Donald Trump elected. It's what brought him to our convention last time, and it's really what got him in the White House the second time. So he's bailed on it. He's bailed on his coalition, and he needs to get back to it. He needs to go back and remember why he got in there in the first place. Keep his promises.
Do you guys, either one of you guys, think that they actually can right now? I've been trying to think through this a lot. Like, if they just stop, do you think that means it's going to stop? Will Israel stop? They don't seem to be interested
Well,
in stopping, and will Iran just let that go either?
I'm
Tim,
not sure.
go ahead.
I'm really not sure because Middle East politics in general has been something throughout my life. I've seen too many twists and turns, too many unpredictable things. The one thing that has remained the same is our foreign policy over there. And if we can change that, what are we doing otherwise as libertarians other than to try and keep our own backyard clean? Like, let's worry about here and the things that we do have control over. We can't control what Israel does, but maybe we can negotiate instead of, arming and supporting what they're doing. And I think that's a message that has to reach the White House.
Yeah, it is maddening, and I know that on Twitter these days, like there's the people who are supporting this, neocons like Mark Levin or Osama bin Levin, as people have so aptly dubbed him, and others, and then people on our side of things like Dave Smith and Tom Woods and myself. I have a tiny Twitter account. It's at Liberty Aaron. So please help me out here. But I've been trying to engage. I've been kind of haranguing James Lindsay some too, who is kind of in the tank for the Israel thing. And it kind of gets old, the whole like Zionism thing, the sidetrack. But like, if you look, they actually, for some reason, the Israel is greatly influencing what's going on. And somebody joked today, like, hey, it's time that Vance and Trump get Netanyahu in the Oval Office and give him the Zelensky treatment like they did with him. Mm. But obviously, that's never going to happen. So I think that one reason, if there is any pushback from the American administration against Israel, we're not going to see it. It's going to be them behind the scenes saying, hey, we've had enough of this. And we can encourage that by doing what we're doing, by Rage Against the War Machine rallies, by keeping the anti-war message on the forefront, because politicians understand pain and a negative response. And if that's all we can do at the moment is complain and highlight broken promises of the Trump administration, then we have to do that, knowing we're maybe pushing against the tide, but it's really the first thing we can do. And I think it may be the last thing we can do too, but we really have to do it.
Well, and to go back to it though, I think this war is exceptionally unpopular among the American people, left, right, center, it doesn't matter. I think besides the Jewish Zionists and the Christian Zionists and the people that are pretty much bought and paid for by the Israel lobby here in America, everybody else is, and that's a powerful force. There's a lot of money involved in it. A lot of people are beholden to that money in a lot of ways, and it shows in our federal government and in state legislatures too. To be honest, here in Maryland, I mean, we're suburbs of DC, and largely, there's a lot of people that work there that commute from Maryland and live here, and they're all part of it too. And the Maryland legislature is no different. So to me, it's highlighting campaign promises, but also like this is something that I think I haven't seen this much outside of the libertarian movement anger about this whole situation. I mean, in my lifetime, every war is unpopular, but this seems to be like nobody likes this idea. So, I mean, what happens if they send U.S. ground troops in? I mean, there was rumors about a draft. I mean, that hasn't happened since Vietnam, I guess. My kid's 13. What happens if this war drags on? I can tell you, I will do everything in my power to keep him from being snatched up and sent off to go fight in these crazy wars. It's everything. It's all the reason I do this. And we got to remember as a nation what we're doing here. What is America first? What really matters to us? So.
What, you're not rooting for our troops to win?
It's not even that. I just
support the troops.
Well, how do you support troops, right? It's the thing we talk about all the time. It's like, bring them home.
Yeah.
Have them protect here. And we're just adding more to the national risk. We're creating more enemies over time.
Right.
We blow up houses, and then the people that are left grow up to hate us even more.
Yeah. Before I wanted to say something, I've got it on the screen and a QR code up in the top left-hand corner. And that's to donate, to give to the Rage Against the War Machine thing. Is there any specific details on that, Tim, that people need to know, or just you guys need some money to defray some of the costs of the hall and all that?
Yeah. So the first two events were very large productions. We did it. It was a very long, arduous process of permitting with Homeland Security and, the National Park Service and all that crap. And the second one, we actually built a huge stage right at the Washington Monument, and it looked like Ozfest out there. It was pretty wild. But this time we're not really needing that kind of production. This is going to be more to secure, certain resources to put on a good show, but it's not going to be like, we don't need like the crazy funding, but we do need funding. We need to get people there. We need to make sure that everything works, that we have this available and accessible to a large audience, to get it out there and make people aware of it. And, I think it's, yeah.
Well, it's Sunday, May 24th, and it's in the evening. Is that correct? Yes. So it'll be after convention business is done, and it's pretty much on site there, or really adjacent, right?
Yes, it's in the building. We've secured their biggest, like, they have conference rooms like most of those big hotels do, and they're all put together. So we have as much room as we need in there.
Okay. So if you're already going to Grand Rapids as a delegate or an alternate, or just to enjoy the parliamentary procedure, please come out to that. But more importantly, like if you've been on the fence about being a delegate, then this may be, and we've got a couple of other, I'm not sure exactly what I can announce right now, but we've got 3 other events that Mises Caucus is either putting on or co-sponsoring on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as well, that we're going to be announcing soon and talking about on the show. So please get out there and come to that. I'll put the tiny URL back up on the screen too, and I'll put the link in the show notes page. So I want to get that out there to let people know that, hey, this is a kind of a call to action. If you can't make it to Grand Rapids, throw us, and I say, I'm not running it, but like, we're a co-sponsor, $5, $50, $500, whatever. It would be much appreciated, because hopefully this will get some press. I'm sure some people will be attacking us on Twitter at the very least, and I'd be disappointed if we aren't doing that. So tell who's going to be there. So I know a couple of them, but I don't know who's public yet or not. So before we get back to like the reasons why, who are we going to be hearing from?
So the ones that I know are locked in are Scott Horton, of course, who has been at the other 2 events, our legendary hero, antiwar.com, Libertarian Institute, all that good stuff. And we also, I asked him myself, Dan McKnight from Bring Our Troops Home and Defend the Guard. He's also going to be there, and Aaron Day. So those are the ones that I know for sure are locked in. And we are in talks with several other folks to get them there. But it's not quite public and all put together yet. So.
Yeah, that's cool. And all 3 of those guys have been guests on the show this year, or at least since the fall, since we kind of rebooted things and got back on. So one thing speaking of Scott Horton, and then Nate, I want you to ask your next question. But one thing Scott's been saying, and this is even back when we had kind of the false start of the miniature war that lasted however many days, that we all hoped that would be the end of it. But Scott Horton, who is not an alarmist, right? He is pretty conservative with his, it's not really a prediction, but he's like actually worried. I've heard him on the Provoke podcast and on his podcast, and I think even on when he was on with us, saying like, hey, I think this is greatly increasing the chances of a terrorist attack in the United States or against American targets, because what are we doing? We're doing the thing that inspires terrorists to do what they do. Are the terrorists justified? No. Is violence the answer? No. But like, there is a difference between an excuse and an explanation. And Scott Horton is the best libertarian foreign policy analyst who knows, not only is he good himself, he knows all the other foreign policy analysts in the world, because he reads them all, the good ones and the bad ones. And if he's worried about, sleeper cell type stuff and lone wolf type stuff or whatever, then I'm worried about it, and that's the thing, is like, these type of things do not make Americans safer. They make us less safe. And if people haven't learned that lesson yet, like, we have to keep preaching that message, and hopefully we don't get proven right again. But you don't have to look too far back in history to know that that's pretty much the case. I think anybody with the brain who's honest is going to realize that attacking a country like we have, the U.S. has been with Iran, blowback is a thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, and who was the Ayatollah that got killed, right? He was like a religious leader too. He wasn't just, he was like a spiritual leader. And so like when you talk about people that, inspire others to take up arms, certainly the death of a religious leader or a martyr, like that, it activates people who otherwise could have been nonviolent. And it's just very dangerous to do something like that.
It's also just unnecessary. Like, what have we won from this? What are we going to win from this? How much money are we going to spend? And I don't know about you guys. I do actually feel less safe now than I did beforehand. I would say hardly ever to never thought about Iran or anyone related to them attacking me here in Tennessee. But the ideas popped up more and more that there could be these random terrorist attacks around the country. And that's something that people really, really need to think about. I've been arguing with a lot of the, MAGA bots on X, which you just shouldn't do. It's not worth it. But I've been arguing with a lot of people on X, and they, I get the response that, well, so you're saying we just can't go after bad people because more bad people will do things. And I'm just saying, no, you should look at the math on all of it and at least bring that into your calculation. It's not really a maybe, and everyone treats it like a maybe. When you do these things, there will be more people who hate you and want to do bad things to you afterwards. That's why it's so important to try and negotiate your way non-violently out of these situations rather than going in. And in my opinion, no matter how many leaders we've killed or how many missiles we've destroyed or anything, but there's probably 10 to 100 times as many people who want to do us harm or our greatest ally Israel harm than did beforehand. And Israel should think of the same thing, what they're doing in Lebanon right now. Sure, they're going after Hezbollah. I'm not a big fan of Hezbollah. They're not high up on my list of people I want to hang out with or anything. But are they really safe? Are they going to be safer after whatever it is they're doing right now, after displacing 1 million people and doing what they're doing to civilian population centers in Lebanon right now? Are the people in Israel really going to be less safe? And like what I just said right there, if it sounds like I care more about the people in Israel than the Zionists on X actually do, because I'm actually talking about the real danger here.
And what about the civilians in southern Lebanon right now? The people that are getting forced out of their homes and they're all getting destroyed, and they're literally annexing that area. I mean, it's another invasion basically. They're just bombing the hell out of it, and they're just going to take it because we knew that this was their plan to begin with. And I always look at it like what have we gotten over the last 30 years with this foreign policy, all these wars in the Middle East? What has it gotten America, really? I mean, it really, if we look at it consequentially, it's been an absolute economic disaster. We've spent trillions and trillions of dollars on this stuff. I mean, last estimate was 1 million dead Iraqis, right? Because of our wars over there. You know, there were, and Scott talks about this too. You know, when the terrorist attacks of 2001 happened, September 11th, there were very few of the Al Qaeda terrorists that were really active. It was a couple hundred. Now there's tens of thousands of them, and they run things now. So what have we really gotten out of this?
Well, I can tell you one thing I got. I've been to the airport several times, and I've had strange men rub the back of their hands across my testicles a couple of times. I didn't really.
Yes, Aaron.
I didn't really appreciate that. And also, one time I saw. I think she must have been Indian or whatever. There's an old woman with a sari, and the TSA people were making fun of her. This is like in 2011 or something, and I swear I'm not this type of guy, but like anywhere else than an airport, I would have swung on this guy. But like, you know, it's a ruin to air travel, and like lots of actual indignity and stuff like that. I mean, and that's just, well, the meme of like Osama bin Laden saying, "Oh, I got them to let TSA tickle their balls for all this," but like Osama bin Laden basically got everything he wanted. The surveillance state, Patriot Act. How do you think we got to Palantir and all this stuff, right? The road was paved with all that legislation, which, you know, war is the health of the state. So blowback is war that we don't see coming. And when we see the consequences that were invisible become visible, then people clamor for the state to do something. And 25 years later, we end up with mass surveillance that I'm sure the stuff going on now dwarfs whatever Edward Snowden started to expose, you know, 12 years ago now or whenever. So it has real consequences. And the jerk offs on Twitter who are like, "Oh, you're just afraid to go through a little bit of pain." Like, "Oh, you're worried that you're paying $1 more for gas. You should be willing to make that sacrifice so our country can have this great victory." And it's like, that sounds like something Saddam Hussein would say. You know, it's ridiculous.
Do you remember in 2003 when we were going to Iraq? It was the same. I mean, it was ridiculous how gung-ho people were. The propaganda that they tried to use this time was the exact same, but people didn't buy it this time because, and honestly, I mean, September 11th just really threw people into a frenzy. It was just a different, it was very bizarre. Like I graduated around that time from high school. And so all my friends, not all my friends, but a lot of my friends signed up for the military right out of high school, and they got shipped overseas. And, you know, it was really the thing that changed my opinion of all of it. I wasn't involved politically. I never even really cared until I had a friend die over there. And then that became my issue. It was like, what are we doing? And then you start looking into it and find out, you know, you've been paying for something that has no benefit to you, and you're sending your friends and family over to go fight people that really you don't have a beef with.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane.
One thing from what you said a minute ago, Aaron, there's something you said that I took a note down. You said, so we can have this great victory, like you're talking to the people on X or whatever, and they, you know, they just think you're weak, whatever. You just won't put up with it. You won't deal with the pain. The problem with that is, it's like the most important problem. We never have the victory.
Yeah.
That never happens, but we still argue. And you may have heard me make this point a couple times in the last few weeks, but the people who have been selling us these wars sound no different from socialists selling us Medicare for all. Yeah. They talk about all the great things that are going to happen, and the cheap healthcare and the better outcomes that we're going to have afterwards, and how much better it's going to be for everyone. And we're always like, no, that's not going to happen. This is the government doing things. They're going to screw it up. It's going to be awful. And the people on the right that sell you these wars, they're doing the same thing. Like, oh, you don't want to have a peaceful Middle East. You don't want our ally Israel and everyone else in the region to live in peace and not have to worry about the constant threat of rockets raining down on them. And they sell you this this utopian vision of what these wars are going to do. And all we actually ever get are just tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands to millions of dead people and a bunch of billions to trillions of dollars spent on these things and dead Americans as well, without ever getting the actual victory that they sold us. Like, that never happens. That should be like an immediate retort. That never happens. What are you talking about?
Well, we've always been at war with East Asia, right? Like the mentality from 1984. It's like you wake up and, okay, who's the enemy now? It'll be China in 2 years, Turkey in 7 years, or whatever. And you're right. Like, they explicitly sold the Iraq war on, we're going to liberate Iraq. That's going to spark a democratic revolution throughout the Middle East, and we'll all have cheap oil. So we're going to actually benefit from this. It's going to be net revenue positive, because the taxes, it's just absolutely, bonkers. Because and it's not as though this is the first time they've done it. So that's why we're trying to get this message out there. I've got a comment from YouTube comments I'm going to put up here in a second. Don't let me forget. I want to ask about maybe the left and where they are, and if they've been reached out to for, or at least non-libertarian people for a Rage Against the War Machine. But the comment I had is from the real Darth Ancap. What are your thoughts on the electoral arrangements of the LP with MAGA, considering where we are now? Hope all is well with everyone. So yeah, thanks for that. I think, obviously we got a lot of publicity for the sort of leverage strategy back at the election, that we had some Mises board members, current and former, and kind of say they were going to vote for Trump, and hey, we should consider voting for Trump because he's promising these several things. And one of them was the number one promise that Angela extracted from Trump personally in exchange for him speaking at the convention was to free Ross Ulbricht, and he got a full pardon, and he's waking up in his own bed now because of that. So I think that's really awesome. It is only one man. So that's been the criticism, is it's only one man. Well, again, I think it's worth it. But what was really worth was the proof of concept of the strategy, that a small dedicated voting bloc can, by their threats to withhold or encourage a vote a certain way, extract some promises. That was never an endorsement of, oh, we're MAGA now.
Well, we saw, sorry to cut you off, man. We saw Trump for 4 years before he got in this last time. We knew what he was.
Mm-hmm.
We had to deal with him during COVID. We knew what he was capable of. We knew what kind of guy he was. We knew what he was. He's about his legacy and his ego, and we know exactly what he is. It wasn't a surprise, but if you remember that night that Trump was at our convention, Clint Russell and Dave were talking to Vivek, and Clint was, he was so on point when he said the margins of the electorate are so thin that you need us. You came here because you want our vote. Well, right. You got to do something for us. And maybe we're a small voting force in the grand scheme of things, but the ideas that we have are popular among people. Mm-hmm. And the things that we care about are the things that Americans care about. Mm-hmm. And if most of those needs aren't getting met, these people don't get elected.
Right.
Now, I think that you're right, though, Aaron. I mean, Ross got out, and that is only one person. But at the same time, to him, that's everything.
Yep.
To his family, that's everything. Yep. And honestly, it's not the end of it. I think there's way more good that we can do by forcing these people into a more liberty-minded, I mean, when Trump was talking after that, the things he was saying, I mean, it was hard to it was hard to argue with some of the things that he was talking about. He was saying starting no new wars. He was talking about no digital currencies and all that stuff. Like he was, centralized digital currency. He was really saying a lot of things that caused libertarians to go, wait a minute. If you keep these promises, I got you. Like, it's hard to argue with that. Now, of course, he's a politician. He broke a lot of his promises, and that's kind of to be expected. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth leveraging these people as a voting bloc to getting something. Because what has the LP gotten for the last 50 years? Otherwise, what have we really had a chance to leverage? This
Right.
was something. This was something tangible, something real.
And it's proof of concept. And
Yeah.
the fact that the MAGA people, the grassroots actual MAGA people, not the bots that or the functional bots that are on Twitter, like they are disappointed because of the no new wars. They're disappointed because of ending Doge and going away from that and backpedaling on a lot of those great things that were happening. So I don't think it's going to matter in November. I think the Republicans are going to lose so bad that our voting bloc won't count much, but we'll be on record as saying, hey, we were willing to come out for you, or at least consider coming out for you. We were promoting the ideas that you at one time were promoting. So here it is. Look, when you did the libertarian thing, you got a good result. When you did the bad, the statist warmongering thing, look at the result you got. And unfortunately, I think this is, we may get lost in the shuffle as far as our message between now and November. Who knows? But we have to keep putting that message out there. And then our commenter, he raised another thing. It's like, hey, has anyone given serious thought to really running an authentic message-driven candidate for higher office, considering how disenfranchised the entire electorate is? So that's literally the strategy of what we want to do in 2028 is to find I almost said MAGA, but somewhat MAGA friendly, but really a Maha friendly, Bitcoin friendly, America First candidate to run on the libertarian ticket, hopefully get two names like that on there and say, hey, these are our demands as far as the good Maha stuff, anti-war, anti-Federal Reserve, pro-Bitcoin stuff. And here's our demands 1 through 5. And you can promise to do this and we'll stand down and tell people not to vote for us. Or you can deny, not sign on to that, and we will try to spoil the election for you. So like that is something that I think would work, and I think very much can work. And I think after what we're going to see in 24 and 26, that if it is somebody like JD Vance who has some good instincts, or Vivek is on the ticket, or some of these guys who are a little smarter than your average Lindsey Graham, Mark Levin, Fox News type person, then we're going to have a place at the table. Now, if you wrestle with pigs, you're going to get dirty. So if you lay down with them and sit down with them, some of it's not going to end up great. You're going to get lied to. Sometimes you're going to get disappointed, but sometimes you're going to win some victories. And that's, unfortunately, we're in politics. So if you don't want to do that, you want to be an agorist, go ahead. Yeah. But our strategy is to do Project Decentralized Revolution at the local level, and to hopefully have an LP who's amenable to the Kingmaker Liberty Leverage thing, as I prefer to call it, thing in 28. And I think it's, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of pain between now and then. But I think that, I think a lot of people are going to really listen to that strategy in 28, because the Maha people are pissed too, the glyphosate thing and all that. So there's going to be a lot of people who want to extract demands from whoever is going to try to pick up the mantle from Trump. So,
well, I think there's a lot there, man. It's funny because I say this a lot. It's the Jimmy Dore thing. It's, he said it once, and I'll never forget it. I use this all the time. It's, I will work with anyone to do good, but no one to do evil. And the bottom line is, when Trump turned on the America First people, his people should have said, hey, that's not what we voted for. We're pissed off. And a lot of them did. And, you know, the people that are in the Libertarian Party that voted for him definitely did. And we should. I mean, that's the whole point. It's like you didn't follow through. Like I'm following you to the point where you turned on what you said you were going to do. And that's it. It's the Jimmy Dore thing, man.
Yeah, a lot of this started with his crazy attacks on Thomas Massey for me too. Like that, I wasn't ready for that. It's tough to not expect any new wars to happen. Like I'm someone who had never voted for Trump until this last election. You know, I endorsed him from my podcast platform and voted for him for the first time because he, in my opinion, he was a little better on foreign policy than what I'd seen recently before that. And in his first term, not perfect, not awesome. There's maybe some stuff I didn't pay attention to, but I saw the argument for it for sure. But I think this whole turning on Massey at the same time is not going to be good. And this all out war against him is not something that I expected to happen either. I think do you guys think that the MAGA people, like the hardcore MAGA, like that, whatever percentage it is, that they're going to come back together with anyone else? Like, are we all going to be able to work together on something again? Because I'm feeling pretty burned right now. Like those people are not very nice. They said a lot of mean things, and I'm feeling pretty burned on that whole thing right now. Like, are we going to even be able to get back together with them?
Like, what type of people are you talking about? Who are you talking about specifically?
It's just, so now we've got like this group of people who we know are not like anti-war. They might, it's wild. Like if Trump turns super anti-war tomorrow and leaves and vacates all the bases around the world, and they'll be 100% and on board with that too. They'll be fine with that. But we know they're not that. They don't actually care about cutting spending. That's pretty clear too. So many other things, the glyphosate stuff, we're just going to let that one slide too. And I'm like, it's kind of a rough coalition. It's been a little disheartening for me seeing that I thought there was a lot bigger group of people who were interested in those things. And now it looks like there's not. That group of people is actually much smaller. Have you guys been feeling that way at all? A little bit disappointed?
I think so. I mean, for me, the MAGA base that still exists is kind of just cultish. It's like a cult following at this point. It's just cult of personality, who Trump is, and they follow that no matter what. And it's 5D chess and whatever else. But I think a lot of his base that was really built around the coalition, like it was bringing in all kinds of people, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., the disenfranchised independents, or even people in the Democrat Party that left and kind of was like, hey, all of a sudden you're talking all the things we actually care about. Those people have left. He tore apart that coalition. Yeah. His support is at an all-time low. And yeah, you get the zombie voters. You're going to get that every time. You get it on the right and you get it on the left. And honestly, you get that in the LP too. Yep. Regardless of who the candidate is, whether it's good or bad.
Well, unless it's Chase Oliver, nobody voted for him.
Sure. But you know what, man? And this is a point that kind of I want to go back to, that you were brought up earlier, Aaron, and that was talking about the coalition stuff, like with who on the left and who on, and Chase isn't our guy. I didn't want him as our presidential candidate for the LP, but I've had conversations with him. I've tried to find a middle ground, and I'll tell you what, despite all of our disagreements, the guy's good on war. Mm-hmm. I'll say that every day. And we got a lot of kickback even from him about the first event that we did, because it was Angela and because of all the nonsense, inside baseball stuff with LP. But to be honest with you, man, it's like, where's your rally?
Yep.
If you show up to this thing and you want to be a part of it and say, yeah, like if you're a libertarian and you care about, peace, then, work with me.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
do your own thing. I don't care if you work with me, just do your own thing. But don't talk shit from the side and expect that to get results. It
Yep.
doesn't. Do something. And I feel like we got a lot of talkers and not a lot of doers in this movement. And we got to really mobilize them.
Yep. Any luck reaching out to non-libertarians for this Rage Against the War machine yet?
So one of our organizers from the first two events, her name's Anastasia Battle. She is part of the LaRouche Institute. She has her own kind of thing going on that side of things. She's great. She works with Diane Sayre, and there's been talks about them coming and working with us, and we're not sure what that looks like yet, but Anastasia is great. I'm trying to reach Jimmy Dore. I don't know what that looks like yet.
Yeah.
The People's Party that was part of the coalition before, they're still around, but they're not quite as united as they had been. We hope that they come out and support us. We hope that they want to be a part of this thing. Like I said, I don't care if you're a communist, to be honest with you. I got a lot of that last time too. I can't work with these people. They're communists. It's like, dude, they don't want to die in thermonuclear war either. Let's just work on this one thing together, and then you can go back to hating each other afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is what matters. What is the most consequential power that a government has? It's war. And we're seeing the fallout of it. I mean, this could literally cripple the American economy. It's going to. We're bankrupt as a nation. You see it at the gas pump, but in the rising cost of everything, we're paying for this stuff. And it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. So that's just the economical, consequences. Never mind the lives lost and all that stuff. So,
yeah, there's for those of you listening, you can go to the show notes page or just it's tiny URL at Rage Against War, tiny URL / Rage Against War to contribute to help fund the event. And then I've got your Twitter handle up on the screen. It's at Rage Against War _. So tag your favorite leftist or libertarian or conservative or communist influencer and tell them to get in touch with Tim and the guys at Rage Against War to see about being part of things. And obviously we would probably draw the line at certain people or whatever, but that's up to you guys who are putting it on. But I'm talking about more of like certain individuals who might whatever, but like, that's the point. The most important issue is war, because it is the health of the state. It does affect everything, including the possibility of actual nuclear war, which again, that seems like hyperbole to some people, but it's really not. Like, it's still very unlikely at this point, but it's more likely than it was before Ukraine and before Israel got us to attack Iran and all that. So I don't want that. So I'm going to be at the Rage Against War thing. What else? We can go a couple more minutes if we have any last questions coming in through the comments or whatever else you guys want to talk about. While we get
just back on the actual news of the day itself, I just want to know where you guys are at, or where you're at, Tim, on the ceasefire 2 weeks. What just predictions on whether or not it's going to hold up. I do want to say, like, I'm glad that it seems like Trump does want to stop this. I think it's gone on way longer than what he thought it was going to be. He might have thought that they were going to kill the Ayatollah and the people were going to rise up and the thing was going to be done in a few days. I do think that that's how it was sold to him, and that's probably what he thought was going to happen. So I support them trying to pull victory from the jaws of defeat and just call it victory anytime that they want to. That's great, because the war is a very serious thing. All that being said, the ceasefire and the 10 points that they agreed to, didn't agree to, or agreed to start as a baseline? You know, is this thing going to hold up for very long?
Well, my understanding is that Iran's already talked about, you know, I mean, I think I saw something not that long ago where they were saying Tehran was being bombed. I'm not sure if it was the Israelis or the Americans that did it, but you know, they were also counting southern Lebanon as breaking the ceasefire deal as well. So to me, they have all the cards, and I think Donald Trump got a lot of bad advice from people that are, you know, all about the Zionist movement, and now he's realizing that he doesn't have the leverage that he thought he did,
Yeah.
and that this was a big kind of mistake. I have heard it said, and I don't know if this is true, but there are people that were saying that maybe, you know, in part of this stuff leading up to the you know, war this time, that Israel was saying that they were going to use nukes if we didn't get involved. And I think that it's possible. They're kind of unhinged. They're kind of doing all kinds of weird things. I don't know if that's confirmed, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me. And I think that, I mean, what do you do if you're president, you know, in that circumstance? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do in that position.
Yeah, especially if a family friend of the Netanyahu's is married to your daughter.
That's right.
The poor guy. They literally have his daughter held hostage, basically.
Right.
If you really look at it.
Who knows how much blackmail there is? Who knows how deep that rabbit hole goes? There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of controversy and conspiracy about it. But at the end of the day, we know that our own government's compromised. We know that these wars are going to cripple us. So, yeah, March 24th, we got to do it. We got to say something. We got to make sure that they have some opposition.
Yeah.
They can't go unopposed doing this.
Yeah. We definitely want to highlight some more of this, and we'll be mentioning it every podcast, and we're going to try to do one every week between now and the convention. Just domestic stuff is just really grinding sometimes, but we definitely want people out at Grand Rapids. We want people out at the Rage Against the War Machine rally, which we've got 3 other events going on, but this one, in my heart, and I think all of us on the board, this is the most important one because it is the most important issue. And so look on the show, kind of the next to where you get the podcast in the little info box, there'll be links in there. You can always go to takehumanaction.com to sign up for our Mises Caucus newsletter and all that. Rage Against War _ on X. And so like once you get your finalized roster, if any of those guys want to come on and talk about stuff, we'd love to have them, but we're going to keep promoting it. And so keep us up to date. And I'm glad that you're in on this, Tim, because I know you're a good guy, and things won't get out of hand over there as long as you're in the mix. So
hey, no promises, man. Nate, I really appreciate it, man. It means the world to me. This is a work of passion and something that I find a lot of pride in. Doing this stuff is a lot of it's very purposeful. And I think it's really important. So it's kind of incredible to be involved at the tip of the spear when it comes to the anti-war movement in America. And, we just got to keep it up, got to keep the energy up.
Yeah, appreciate it. Anything else? I'll let you say anything else you want to say, Nate, and close this out. So.
All right. One last plug I have. Libertarian Party of Tennessee State Convention is this weekend in Chattanooga. Saturday, come hang out. I, along with co-host Charlie from Good Morning Liberty, will be hosting or moderating a gubernatorial debate. That's not like the reason you should be there, but I bet it'll be fun to watch me and Charlie moderate a gubernatorial debate. So you want to come and do that at the Embassy Suites in Chattanooga on Saturday. So it's currently Wednesday at 7:21 p.m. Central Time. You start driving tomorrow morning. You can make it there kind of almost regardless of where you are in the contiguous U.S., you got a good chance of making it there. So, but Tim, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Anytime, guys.
Aaron, fun as always.
Okay.
Great episode, and everyone hanging out with us. Come back and see us next week.
Yeah, we'll be back Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.